Welcome to J Lowe Artist YouTube channel. Today's tutorial will be white pencils on black paper. So we're going to use white charcoal and white Prismacolor. The charcoal because it blends easily, and the Prismacolor because it's very opaque and bright. So come along and draw with me. It'll be fun.
When we're doing chiaroscuro, it's kind of like backwards drawing. When you first start drawing and you're drawing all the shadows, you're looking at all the dark areas. With chiaroscuro, you've got to kind of switch your brain a little bit and start looking at the light areas. And it is a brain switch. We're going to start, and I'm not exactly sure how much of the Prismacolor we're going to use, but with the white charcoal, we're going to start out with that. White charcoal is easy to cover. It's easier to erase. So I do all my layout with the white charcoal. And then you've got your cotton swab standing by in case you want to do a little smearing. But we do want to get our proportions and everything in. And of course, with this, the eyes, the nose, and the mouth, those are important. If his head is a little wider or narrower or something, that's maybe not quite as important. But I'm going to start out with the eye and just kind of figure out where I want to do this. So here goes. We want a nice large eye. I'm just going to kind of place that in there. Just say this is how big I want that eye. Maybe that's too big. Maybe that's too big. Maybe I want to make it a little bit smaller. We're just kind of starting out trying to get our proportions. Make that one just a little bit larger. Sometimes you don't have to do lines around things. You can just do the shapes. So you're just picking out the light shapes. That's what I'm going to do with my charcoal. Just pick out the light shapes. Whatever you see. Look at the little triangles of different areas. And the sooner you learn that we're not drawing a cat, we're drawing shapes of dark and light. And in this case, just light because you're just leaving out what's there. My nose is a little low. Got to bring it up. Don't get into the little details yet of whiskers and things like that. Get your proportions and everything in first. Some of these areas get lost in the background. That's kind of what chiaroscuro does. Is it kind of lets you lose your object into the background. Just let it bleed in. No edges. There's no edges here at all, really. Around the eye, maybe. That's about it. In photography, this is called low-key lighting. So if you wanted to look up some scrap, you could look up low-key lighting. You could look up chiaroscuro. I don't know if when you watch me draw, I do things like this. It's where I'm lining up things, and like I'll line up the eye with the inside of the eye. If you go straight up, that's about where the ear starts there on both sides, and you can adjust it, give or take a little bit, but that's just part of proportioning, helping you to find the right angles to things, the right size to things. You're comparing parts to parts. I'll do that like with the eyes and the nose, make sure they're in the right angle, the mouth and everything is in the right angle. Some of this stuff you may want to get with your cotton swab. But you're going to need more material, more medium on there than what we've got. So I'm going to flip up and see if I can find some of those really light areas right in here. A little bit of pressure and a little bit of line. Use that feathered line, that little flippy line, to get some of that fur in there. Kind of a little spontaneous kind of a thing. Once you have enough medium on there, charcoal in this case, you can start blending. Take that cotton swab and blend a little bit. Tried to find a black cat, but drawing a black cat on a black paper was not as easy as you'd think it would be. Try my cotton swab here and see if I can blend some of that. Anytime you blend, you know just right off that you're going to have to go back in and put in some of those highlights anyway, just because you're pulling some out. But once you have enough on there, you can draw with that. Any light edges that you've got, you can go put those in.
Hey, Mr. Lowe,
Yes.
I noticed you can see some parts of light just on the outside that's barely visible.
Yep, that's
Are you waiting to go over it with a cotton swab?
Yep, waiting till I get as much as my cotton swab out there as I can. And then you can go out there and do that little bit of light out in there. I also have a fetish with eyes. And I like to do the eyes and make sure they're done right. And then I can move on. If you'd like to practice this, I've got some fun little skulls and things that we did last year on my YouTube channel. You can pop on there and practice some of those. So I always start with the eye and kind of move out from the eyes. I think that if you can get the eye looking just right, the rest of it will fall into place. If you need sharper edges, use your kneaded eraser. You can, like a little edge maybe on his nose there could be a little sharper. If you need to take some out, that's called reductive drawing. This is a very quick way of drawing too, because all those shadows are done for you. I mean, to draw the light, there's probably less light than there is shadows. Very fast way of drawing. Especially when you're using the cotton swab, because it really does cut down on the amount of time that it takes. That click eraser too is going to help if you need something a little more aggressive. A little clicky eraser is a good one to do. A little vinyl eraser. If you draw quite a bit, your eye will make that shift. Your brain will make that shift from light to dark, or dark to light, whatever you want to say. If not, you have to kind of struggle against it for a little bit, and then your brain will just kind of make that shift. When you're doing fur, especially whether it's with your pen or your pencil or whatever you're doing fur, just practice that varied line, like some flip down, some flip up. You don't want them all going in the same direction. Every now and then have kind of a wild hair kind of going up, or it's going to make it look softer, more naturalistic. Nobody cares if the little stripes are off a little bit, okay? So don't fret if you don't have them exactly where they go. Just get close. And here the texture is probably more important than getting the little stripes where they are. So I know some of this down here is pretty light. I'm going to smear it a little bit, and that'll take off some of that brightness that I've got down in here. I can use my cotton swab on those edges that are really light or darker. Little dark areas, you can go back in with your kneaded eraser, pinch it off to a knife blade, and just pull out a little bit of those areas. Otherwise, you just take your white pencil and go back in and just do little marks here and there. Don't have to be all over. And if those little white marks feel like they're too strong, you can always go back with your cotton swab and blend them a little bit. This cool thing about charcoal is it's never permanent until you spritz it, until you fix it. You kind of got to push yourself sometimes when you're drawing, especially when it's for practice like this. Your mind is a little more acute, a little more aware when you're pushing it. And if you want that little upper hand, listen to Baroque music. Baroque music, like Mozart. You know, it has a subliminal beat. There are no drums or anything in Baroque music. Well, in most Baroque music. But there's this subliminal beat, and your mind tries to catch up or tries to keep pace with that beat. And so it makes you, gives you energy and kind of makes you go faster. It's really kind of an amazing thing. And as I always say, if it's not Baroque, don't fix it. Yeah. Did you ever see The Incredibles? You know what happened to Jack when he listened to classical music, right? Just saying. Could happen to you. You could get powers. One of the last things you'll do is throw in those little whiskers. Those will just be a little line, little feathered line as fast as you can. Like I say, don't be afraid to leave things out. Let them just bleed into the background. That's kind of fun. Really, that's kind of what chiaroscuro is all about. It's Italian. It means light and dark. It's very a dramatic way of drawing. Get a lot of really cool effects with chiaroscuro. Of course, the last thing you want to do, sign it. Good place for your signature is not quite on the edge, but somewhere close by. I'm going to put mine over on this side. Well, I hope that was a lot of fun for you today. Hope you learned something and enjoyed it. Drawing with charcoal and chiaroscuro can be very therapeutic. And the last thing you do is you just clean it up a little bit. You can use your cotton swab, you can use your pencil, you can use your kneaded eraser. Just pull out any darks that you think you've lost. And hopefully you've had a wonderful time doing this with me. I appreciate you being here. Appreciate your patience with me. It's always nice to draw with you. And I hope somehow this has made your life a little bit nicer, a little bit easier, a little better. Doing something maybe you've never done before that you've always wanted to attempt. But you know, you never know that you can accomplish something until you try to accomplish it. And I think that you surprise yourself. Hopefully, your day is going to go a little bit nicer. Because you know, art makes life better. I hope you have a lovely day.